Today I'm going to cover 10 habits that are keeping you poor, and make sure you stick around because some of these you may not have thought of. The first habit I'm going to cover is not auditing yourself. Now, what I mean by this is if you don't know where you're starting from or how much money you have coming in or how much money you have going out, it's a pretty impossible task to get back on financial track. Basically, this is a pretty simple tip, but you have to know what's what, and even though it might be a little painful to look at first, you have to do a self-audit on your spending, on exactly how much you're making and exactly where it's going. Otherwise, you will never know. There's no way to course correct if you don't even know what course you're on. Along these lines, our next habit that is probably not helping you and probably keeping you poor is lifestyle creep. So when I say lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation, I'm specifically talking about like if you get more money and the first thing you do instead of saving more is you go out and like buy a new car or buy a bigger house or rent a larger apartment. Like, you get the picture. That's not to say that you shouldn't reward yourself, which is going to kind of be tied into a later tip that I have. But basically, lifestyle creep will get you. And the worst part about it is, yes, it will appear that you're improving and doing better, and yes, in a way you are if you get a raise or if you start making more money. But the truth is, you'll be actually in the same exact financial spot as you were at the lower salary, but now you're just spending more. Try to think of it as like a one-time purchase if you have to make it, not something that you have to make payments on or bigger payments on, or that is going to cost you more each month. Let it be a handbag, let it be a new lipstick. Don't let it be maybe a whole new vehicle. Now, my third tip, which is going to sound contradictory to the last tip, but it's having a scarcity mindset. I firmly believe that having a scarcity mindset will hurt you. If you're constantly, even subconsciously telling yourself, I can't afford this, I can't have this, I can't buy this, I can't go out, it's building negative reinforcement in your brain. And not only will you potentially actually not be able to afford things or do things that you want to do, you will actually make yourself want those things, whatever it is, more. So you're putting it on a pedestal. So instead of telling yourself no, tell yourself yes, but, because everything comes at a cost. And you really need to determine, if I buy this new car or I buy this new house or a bigger apartment, how much longer am I going to be happy with this decision? Or is it just going to be something that eventually I get used to again, and I'm looking for the next dopamine hit and I'm looking for the next fancy thing that I can buy? All right, my fifth tip is having unrealistic lifestyle expectations. And honestly, in the age of social media, this is so hard because everyone is posting a highlight reel constantly, and everyone is posting stuff they bought, stuff they have, where they're going on vacation. And honestly, you don't know everyone's real life. You don't know how they're actually affording that, if their parents are paying for it, if their spouse is paying for it, if they're using debt to pay for their lifestyle or their possessions. So I really want to encourage you to not compare yourself financially to other people online, because not everything is what it seems. I'm sure we've all heard about those influencers that like rent a Ferrari for a day, or rent like a private jet just to take a photo shoot in. Like they're buying all these things, so it must be okay if I spend like this too. It's not. You need to do your own audit. Like I said at the beginning of this video, you need to assess where you are personally and not compare yourself to everyone else, and set some more realistic expectations for yourself. You don't need to go out 5 nights a week to 5-star dinners. I promise you, it's really not normal. And this might be a controversial one, but it's useful debt that's not actually useful. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about things like, using debt to basically make a bet on, say, some cool new cryptocurrency that you think is really going to pay off. Obviously, situations like this can pay off, but you need to be so careful with this. And just because someone told you it's a great investment and you have to hop on it, does not mean that it's wise to go get a loan to do that. The other thing, which might even be more controversial than this first one, is school debt that the career does not pay as much as your school loan is going to cost. I mean, there is something to be said for, being happy in a career and interested in what you're studying, but honestly, if you're gonna go take out $200,000 on a career that maybe pays $50,000, I would strongly reconsider, just because it is going to hold you back. And now with so many free online resources and like YouTube, that you can learn on, you might not need a college education for a lot of things. Don't get talked into taking on school debt just because it's the thing that everyone else is doing. Maybe consider something else and, make your passions a hobby instead of a career. The next one I want to cover is not paying yourself first. Now, I know this is like a popular one, but this honestly took me so long to get through my head. Like, you need to, no matter what, save a portion of your paycheck first, and then pay your bills, and then do things that are fun, and then buy stuff in that order. And I am like a firm believer, try to pay yourself first, no matter what, no matter if it's like just the smallest amount, even if you have debt, which is also controversial, but in my experience, you just never know when you're gonna need cash on hand. Sometimes just having it accessible immediately is absolutely critical. The next habit that is detrimental to your financial life is not having a plan. This kind of goes along with, not auditing yourself, but if you don't have like a goal or an end goal in mind on where you want to be financially, it's going to be so hard to find the motivation to actually start and like make a plan, and honestly to take action on that plan. Again, like I suggested, I would definitely pay myself first. Just open a savings account with like the bare minimum. You don't even have to have a lot to put into it right away, but just having it there will kind of help you form a plan. Definitely have a plan, have a goal in mind that you want to get to, and make it something that is realistic and tangible enough so that you won't lose steam or motivation as time goes on. Now, the next issue and the next habit keeping you poor, or maybe anti-habit at this point, is not having a system in place. So like I said, it's really important to have, an audit of your finances, a goal, a plan to go along with that. But then I think it's also really important to actually have a system that you can stick to each month or week or whatever it is, just to make sure you stay on track. It's basically like an accountability system. you don't even want to see the money that you're paying yourself first with. Like, you just want it out of the paycheck, ideally into a separate account, your savings account that you created, and out of sight, out of mind. Like, you don't make that money, basically, is what you want to tell yourself. And there's ways that like a lot of companies have this to where you can have your direct deposit go into 2 separate accounts. If it's really hard for you to have it go in your checking account and then transfer it to your savings, just put a small percentage towards the savings account right off the top, and then you have the rest of your, money in the checking account to pay bills, do fun stuff, etc. Another habit keeping you poor is not investing. Now, I do feel like it's not accessible for many people, and I think that before you start implementing this, you have to get to a certain place financially, and by that I mean build up an emergency fund. That's a non-negotiable. But once you have about 3 to 6 months, honestly, I would say more like 6 months to a year now, just because of the way things are in the world. Once you have that saved up, start considering investing. Investing is the way to really, really make your money work for you. When it comes to investing, and this is going to be a really controversial opinion, I might start before I get rid of all my debt. It really depends what interest rate your debt is being held at and how much it's costing you, and like how much you think you'll make on like the average return. So look at those numbers, run the numbers, do the math, and basically decide for yourself, but don't just ignore it because it's intimidating. Okay, on the topic of investing, that brings me to my final tip or habit to avoid, and that is over scrutinizing the market when you are investing or falling for clickbait. And what I mean by this is, you have your investments and you are monitoring like Robinhood or whatever every single day, and you're acting on it every single day. Basically, you're behaving like a day trader. Don't do that. Like, you're honestly just gonna drive yourself crazy, and you're like more prone to make emotional decisions if you over monitor your investments. Try to ignore the clickbaity titles. Like, things are literally designed to get your attention, to make you click, just to get, your eyes on the web page or whatever it is. And you can make some pretty bad decisions that way. There's, of course, many really popular investment YouTubers, and basically any experienced investor will tell you to just buy and hold long term. That's kind of been the recipe for success for a while now, and it's true, anything can change, but so far, that's the data we have telling us that that is the best thing to do. So those are my 10 tips and habits to avoid that are keeping you poor, and let me know in the comments which ones you found most helpful and which ones you need to work on, because we all have stuff to work on. Thanks for watching.